Bongo Scotland Trip, and we are in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where we are actually. Somewhere on the north coast of Scotland, and I think we're near the town of Danish. We're not really very near anything. There's one house over there and that way, but that's about it. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's mountains shrouded by mist. There's a loch, or maybe it's an inlet to the sea. It's probably an inlet to the sea. There's Bongo, and there's a fire. So, what's happened since we last spoke? Well, because last night, we were in the beautiful confines of the Tesco car park in Stornoway, and our main worry was the van. We're still a bit worried about the van, to be honest. The van hasn't had its brakes fixed because the guy didn't have the parts and couldn't get the parts. So what we have done is we've booked in for Thursday in Ullapool to have the van fixed, and our Bongo dealer in Stoke is sending the parts up. So on Thursday, it is now Monday, the van should be fixed. What that means is we are still driving around the van where it makes a very funny noise every time you brake. Apparently the back calipers are gone, and we're having one of them has gone. We're having one sent up. So according to our Bongo dealer, it's not actually that dangerous to drive, and it won't do any more harm because the back wheel's knackered anyway. So that's that. Bongo's been a bit poorly today. I don't know why. 2 times we've turned him on, and there's been this huge noise, like aircon starting up. That's never happened before in all the time we've had Bongo, and I don't know why. It didn't happen last time we did it, but yeah. So, and also we bought a new gas canister because the gas stopped working yesterday, and that doesn't work either. So things are going wrong with Bongo, but we don't quite know why. But he's driving okay, and we're getting around fine. The big news today is, of course, that we are now on mainland Scotland rather than the Outer Hebrides. So after waking up and going to the garage and going to the gas place, we had a little walk around Stornoway. We went to the Tourist Information Centre, and we were served by a very lovely girl called Jessica, who told us about a really nice cafe in a castle, which is where the museum is, but the museum was shut. So we went to the castle, which is just across the water, and it was very nice. And the castle, you could wander around. It was like some Victorian Gothic thing. But all the rooms, there was nothing in them. I think they use them for weddings because they were all like set up as if they're about to have a wedding in them. But we went to the cafe there, and there was a nice gentleman in there we had a chat with about the Lewis chessmen. And the Lewis chessmen was a series of 4 chess sets that were found off the coast of Lewis. They were washed up on a beach. Not all the pieces have been found. And they're Norwegian originally. And and so that's the Lewis chessmen. Now, we wouldn't mind seeing some in the museum, but most of them in the British Museum, and of course the museum was shut. Though we did buy a model of a couple of replicas. So there is a bit of an argument that most of them are saying the British Museum they think they perhaps should be in a Scottish museum, perhaps the local one, or perhaps in Edinburgh. But the Norwegians also saying, well, they've got a kind of claim to them too. One turned up apparently. One of the lost pieces turned up in someone's drawer in Edinburgh by chance a couple of years ago and fetched £1 million. So so that's the Lewis chessmen. We did have a little bit look round. We did a bit of shopping in Stornoway, and then we went on the boat. And the boat, it was. So we went shopping around Stornoway, and then we went on the ferry. On the ferry that we went on, it was the Loch Seaforth, it was called. It was a kind of middling sized ferry, so bigger than the ones we've been on already, but smaller than the huge ones we went on in Scandinavia before. And we had a nice trip across, nothing that amazing, although the voyaging to Ullapool was quite spectacular because it was almost like in a fjord. We met a lady on there that we'd also met at the castle and in the town, and so we had a chat with her, and she is of Hebridean heritage, but she lives in London now, and so it was nice chatting to her. And also this guy, and he was like some hardcore outdoors guy. He'd been on the Hebrides for 6 weeks quite what you could do on the Hebrides for 6 weeks, I don't know. But he went foraging for mushrooms, and he gathered so many mushrooms that he could feed 10 people for 3 days. But he said after that he was fed up on mushrooms, and he was now going up into the north of Scotland to basically fish and just be at one with nature. He was a nice guy, but he was one of those guys who like kind of knew everything. So yeah, but you know, it was interesting to chat to him. And then once we got to Ullapool, we've just driven, and we've driven along the North Coast 500. We've driven 120 odd kilometres, 130 perhaps. We stopped at a very nice castle by a loch. That was great. And then we also took a detour. We went to a cafe where we had some haddock and potato soup, and we were looking for somewhere to stay, and we looked at a couple of beaches and some places on a peat bog, but no, we've chosen here. So this is our stop for the night. We have a little fire going, and we're going to chill out, be at one with nature, although not forage for mushrooms, and then tomorrow we're going to continue onwards towards, but perhaps not as far as John O'Groats. Let's just see what there is to see. Keep travelling.
Keep travelling.